My long-awaited book, Astrology Realized, is finally available and waiting for you at Amazon and other online retailers. Get one for you, your loved one, or as a gift. All part of your fabulous journey to understanding astrology. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous Libra. Welcome to your horoscope for 2014. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What is just really the standout dominant energy of this year is the fact that Mars is going to be hanging out in your sign for an unusually long time for the majority of the year. Now, usually Mars hangs out in a sign for about 6 weeks. But every once in a while, he likes to travel backwards, and that tends to slow him down on the one hand. But also it means that he is retracing steps that he's already taken. So if you think about it, think about yourself, right? Walking down a sidewalk, walking down a path, and all of a sudden you stop and you decide to walk backwards, the steps that you were walking. So you decide to walk backwards a block, and then you stop, and then you walk forward again. Well, you're going to know that pathway that you've walked 3 times pretty well. And that pathway has to do with you. Mars being retrograde in your sign, hanging out in your sign for such an unusually long time suggests a year that is profoundly changing, a year that asks you to consider where your power is and where it isn't, and a year that asks you to take responsibility for the change that you wish to experience, to accept where maybe you have no power to create change, and to find serenity within that. It's a year that asks you to actually live the infamous serenity prayer. But it's also about the force. It's about drive. It's about energy, and it's about physicality. It's about you coming to a new understanding of what it means to be in your own body, to be in your own skin, and to be incarnated right now in this moment, to be alive, and what the feeling of life is. Now, all of these are really important lessons. All of these are very sacred lessons as well. If you think about the glyph of Mars, right? When you see the glyph of Mars, it is the glyph of male, basically, right? You see them over washrooms and things. They're the universal symbol of male. Also represents the planet Mars. It's a circle with an arrow coming out of it. The circle represents wholeness, represents self-knowledge, represents containment, represents awareness and spirit. And then you've got the arrow coming out of it. And the arrow speaks to really action arising from that place of completion within yourself. A more enlightened way that Mars likes to be revealed and likes to be displayed in your own life has to do with you saying, okay, this is what I can do, and I will do it, and I will move myself. You being true to yourself and knowing yourself and saying my actions are going to reflect who it is that I really am. They're going to be organic, and they're going to come from the gut, as some people like to say. But there are other manifestations of Mars, as we know, because classically and, in mythology, Mars was the god of war and also athletics. And so you think about that, right? Those are 2 very different manifestations representing who it is that we are at our best physically, right? Or 2 very distinct expressions of us physically. So on the one hand, you have this amazing ability to surpass limitations of before as represented in the athlete. And a lot of you are going to find that inner athlete. But then you think about war, right? When war is intelligent, it's void of emotion. But when there's a lot of emotion in there, then sometimes it can just be for its own sake. So you've got to think about this and the ways in which this can manifest for you. There are going to be some of you who are going to choose to use this energy consciously to get clear about your motivations as to why you have the reactions that you do, why you have the certain immediate responses that you do, and how maybe sometimes in a moment you can behave in certain ways that don't always match who it is that you hope to be in the future. And this is really wise. This is really the best use of this energy. And again, as I said, this is ultimately the energy of change. So this is you saying, you know what, I'm not crazy about where I am right now, so I know I can do this, and you do it. And you can also say to yourself, I know that I have no control over this, and that's okay. So I'm just going to focus on what I do have control over. But if you don't give this energy something to do, because it is such a strong energy, because it is the energy of dominance and change, if you don't give it something to do, what you're going to find is that you get frustrated and you'll end up wasting this very special year of your life. And what you'll end up doing is getting frustrated at yourself and getting frustrated at other people. And maybe people are going to want to give you a lot of space. And you really don't need to do that. And you really don't need to go there. Take ownership for the person you wish to be. That's really it. And any frustration you feel, recognize it as a gift, because it is. It is a great gift. It is a sacred gift that is pointing the way to what is unacceptable to you and unacceptable to who you are today. And once you acknowledge that, the power of change and the process of change has already begun.